Hello, everyone. Welcome to my channel. I'm Ananda, the Galactic Mystic, and this is Navigational Astrology. We have a new moon in Libra that is probably the most spectacularly gorgeous new moon I've seen in a long time. Let's talk about it. Welcome, everyone. I am so excited to finally be talking about this spectacular new moon that has been on my radar for a very long time. Like I said in my intro, I'm Ananda, the Galactic Mystic, and this is Navigational Astrology. And you might be wondering, what is Navigational Astrology? In a nutshell, Navigational astrology is my way of using astrology as a navigational map to explore and engage in deep discovery of the self for the purpose of discovering secret corners that we can shine extra love into so that we become whole. It's essentially shadow work. And if you are interested in deep diving into the self, I invite you to join my private community, the Deep Divers. There's a link in the description box below. So let's just get straight into this. Of course, a Libra new moon is about Libra things. Libra is Venus ruled, the seventh house. This is our partnerships, our marriages, our relationships with one-on-one energies, business partners, all of our one-on-one relationships. This is balance, harmony, justice, and truth. And whenever we talk about Libra, Libra is represented by the scales. And I always like to mention to invite the goddess Maat to the table. She's the Egyptian goddess of truth and justice, and she is the one who weighs the hearts of the dead in her scales of truth against a feather. And as we go through this, I want you to think about what things in your life are making your heart heavy. Because in order to have a heart that is lighter than a feather, that's a big ask in this world we live in. And achieving that type of lightness of being is contrary to everything our world is asking us to do. And so this new moon is going to challenge all of those things, the ways that we overreach, the ways that we hold on, the ways that we have limited ability to perceive possibility. So we have just completed, with our last full moon in Pisces, we completed a huge cycle of karmic endings and release. Now we are entering into the dark half of the year. We just had the solstice, depending on when you're watching this. So we are entering the time of going within, the time of the ancestors, of wisdom, of the crone. And this is its own continual experience of relief, not relief, of release, maybe relief as well. Sometimes it's a huge relief to let go of burdens, to let go of what we just are holding on to so tightly. And why do we hold on so tightly? It's a lot of times because we don't trust. And Libra, Venus, the seventh house, this is a big area where our trust wounds where we don't trust ourselves, our trust wounds where we don't trust others. This is where they live. So this is a big part of this new moon as well. So we just had this big ending, and this new moon, it really does bring a new beginning with a long vision. This is a long game. I don't want you to think of this new moon as an instant gratification where it's like, okay, this is the moon of the insatiable Venus. So I want my money now. I want my love now. I want my blessings now. I want my justice now. It just doesn't work that way most of the time. Divine timing is a thing. And we have to prepare ourselves for the receiving. So this new moon is beginning a long game of it's an invitation to expand your vision beyond all your limitations, and not just your limitations, society's limitations, your best friend's limitations, your spouse's limitations, your children's limitations. How many of other people's limitations have you adopted as your own? So, new beginning. This is going to be a year-long plus experience of total expansion. Each one of us has a Venusian thing that we are hungry for. It could be love, relationship, money, justice, harmony, beauty, creativity, self-worth, value. We all have something in this realm that we are starving for. And if you are comfortable with sharing what yours is, I invite you to write it in the comments below, because this can serve as a point of reference for you as I go forward. I'll just tell you, for me, I have a situation of injustice in my life that I am just starving for justice. And I'm impatient about it. Are you also impatient about yours? It kind of comes with the territory. So we're in this together. So let's talk about this Super Galactic Center. A new moon conjunct the Super Galactic Center. Okay. So we have the Galactic Center, which is the center of our galaxy, the Milky Way galaxy. The Super Galactic Center is this massive gravitational force that holds our galactic cluster in place. So it serves a little bit like the sun of our galactic cluster. In this cluster includes 33 galaxies, including our own. So there's the Milky Way and 32 other galaxies being held in place, rotating ever so slowly from our perspective, and being affected by this massive gravitational force that we call the Super Galactic Center. It contains 3 trillion stars. That's 3 trillion solar systems. And, you know, the gravitational area itself is equivalent to 3 billion solar masses. So like 3 billion times the mass of our sun. It's unfathomable. And the way that we can't quite grasp the vastness of that, it's like we're having to stretch our minds to really, I mean, we really can't understand what that really is like. This is what this new moon is asking us to do in our own lives, to expand, to push, uncomfortably push against these limitations. You don't necessarily have to figure out what all the limitations are and why We have them. I mean, we can psychoanalyze them. That can be helpful, but it isn't necessarily necessary. We can just practice seeing bigger, asking for more, emptying out our cup a little bit so there's room to receive. That's something we've been talking about in the Deep Divers community a lot lately. There's all this talk about fill your cup. My cup is overflowing. Fill your cup. And this is actually something that I learned from my teacher. In order to receive, we have to have room in our cup. And that simple concept has been profound for me. So whenever astrologically we have a powerful conjunction or opposition with the Super Galactic Center, there is an insatiableness that comes into play. This insatiableness, a lot of times in natal charts, you will find that people who have this in their natal charts will often try to sort of feed the planet that is on the Super Galactic Center. And they try to feed it with worldly things, with things like food, sex, money, power. But the truth of it is that this insatiableness, it is insatiable because it will never be satisfied with worldly things. It is of a spiritual and wisdom nature that we have to feed the Super Galactic Center astrologically. So in Libra, a lot of times this brings up issues of soulmating, of relating, of relationships, of sacred divine partnerships. And so many of us, many of you, I expect are, if you are not already partnered, are really experiencing this hunger, this extreme longing for resolution or completion of something involving that. And here's where I want to say where you are worthy of it, you deserve it, you are worthy of it because you exist. You're worthy of every good thing, of abundance, love, rest, joy, excitement, comfort, healing, everything. You don't have to earn it. You already are worthy of it. In stepping into that worth, which is very much in alignment with Venus. So this is where we talk about what is an insatiable Venus. I don't mean insatiable Venus as in insatiable for love and like this desperation. We have to really understand Venus. Venus is discerning. Venus knows her worth. Venus does not cast her pearls before swine. She does not overgive. She requires reciprocity. She allows and trusts the great mystery's ability to bring people, things, situations, situationships, agreements, etc., to her that are in alignment with who she truly is. And she expresses that trust by living in a fearless way, fearless in being who she is. When we are not fully ourselves in relationships or, agreements or just walking through our day-to-day life, we deny ourselves and other people the opportunity to really know us. And we deny ourselves the opportunity to have people, situations in our lives that are truly compatible with us. And so in this way, we're being asked to expand what we think is possible. I live a very solitary life. It's weirdly solitary. I am the ultimate hermit. I speak to people in person very seldomly. I sort of exist in this weird, unworldly way, which is appropriate for the work that I do. But as a person who, they say I need relationships with other people. Of course, I have my husband, my child. They're the only people I talk to, basically, in person. And so I've developed this limiting belief that I cannot have community, or that there aren't any other people that I can be in harmonious relationship with. And so I'm having to expand my perception, my expectations, to include the possibility that there could be actual friends out there for me. Where are you being asked to expand? I'm going to take a pause here. I want to read to you the Chandra symbol for this new moon because it is stunning and very poignant. Chandra symbols are an intuitive description of a degree. This is the work of a beautiful mystic by the name of Elias Lonsdale. I highly recommend his book, Inside Degrees. Okay, so here we go. Libra 3. An inaccurate, imaginative map of the world. Subjective depths become all permeating. The surface facts seem like nothing. You are plunged into your internal voyage and compelled to take it up blindly and innovatively. You cannot depend upon anybody's previous experience, for you are moving into a whole different reality. Inward development as a total way of life. That's navigational astrology. It's not the only way, but that's what it is. Yet surrounded and beset by pressures, demands, and distorted reflections. That's this outside world, this dominant culture that, don't even get me started on that. You therefore have to operate virtually oblivious to the feedback loop of the socio-cultural sphere. There, he said it. To be blind, deaf, and dumb to how anything appears to anybody. In other words, screw everybody's opinions on what you are doing. And to act as though the inner world you are cooking up for the future is all that counts. And everything else is a blur of facts, figures, and passing semblances. I could stop right there and say nothing else about this new moon, and that is everything. You cannot depend on other people's opinions, their experiences, because you are trailblazing. If you are watching this video, you are walking a path that most people don't walk. And it's lonely. It's hard to understand. And people may be watching you live your life and be like, what are you doing? And you can't listen to that. You can't listen to them because you're walking a path that has not been blazed. And so there is no opinion. There's no accurate opinion on what you're doing because no one has done it before. So these pressures, demands, and distorted reflections from the feedback loop of the socio-cultural sphere. This is what we have to become blind, deaf, and dumb to ignore it, to act as if it doesn't exist because it isn't actually real. That's the illusion. That's the illusion. The inner world you are cooking up is all that counts. Everything else is a blur of facts, figures, illusion, and passing semblances. You're moving into a whole different reality, an inward development as a total way of life. If you are a deep diver, a seeker, you are exploring the inner worlds of you, then you're doing just fine. Okay, so I guess I should bring up the chart so you can see it. Usually I do that before now, but so this is the chart for our spectacular new moon conjunct the Super Galactic Center, 2 degrees, 49 minutes. This is happening September 25th, 2022 at 5:54 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So here is our new moon. This new moon is conjunct both Mercury retrograde and Venus, a little bit of a wide degree, but absolutely relevant. So this is telling us just everything we need to know. New expansion of possibility, of expectation, of what we will allow into our lives. Loving contracts, loving, supportive agreements, relationships. Venus and Mercury together, they're very tightly conjunct. This is a revision, a redoing of some things that maybe aren't serving us. This may include a release and some more endings, or a new iteration, a revamping, a reinvigoration of things that are already in your life. And that essentially makes a whole new thing. It makes a whole new relationship. We have Jupiter Jupiter retrograde very tightly opposing this new moon. This is really that, it's like the Super Galactic Center alone is at this expansion, but Jupiter is bringing in an extra dose of, just in case you didn't think I was asking you to expand your vision, let's talk about it again. Let's put it in the chart again so that we can't miss it. Now, I do have to mention, whenever Jupiter is in a hard aspect, we have to watch for promising too much, for allowing others to promise us too much and believing them, and then setting things up for disappointment. So it's a tricky balance, and the thing that will create the balance comes back to weighing your heart against the feather. What makes your heart heavy? Is it overgiving? Is it not speaking your truth? Is it allowing people to run over you and then spending the rest of the day grumbling and feeling taken advantage of when you didn't even once speak up for yourself? Like these habits that we have, that culture has taught us, that we have to be nice, we have to smile, especially if you have pigtails and flowers in your hair. You can't be fierce, you can't make people uncomfortable, you're responsible for what everyone else feels. Oh, that's some of the stuff that needs to become deaf, blind, and dumb in our minds. We have to erase that. We have to ignore that. We have to disintegrate that in our consciousness. All right, now with Jupiter, if you've been watching my last couple, 2 or 3 new moon, full moon videos, then you will know about this glass eye aspect with Jupiter, Saturn, and Uranus. This glass eye is being amplified by this new moon because of this opposition with the new moon with the Super Galactic Center. So what's happening here with this glass eye? I made that name up. is that this square of Saturn and Uranus, which is this frustrated standoff between movement and stillness, innovation and tradition, hard work and freedom, and it's they are in a standstill. We've had this energy for a while. It simmers, it frustrates. But with Jupiter in this as the midpoint and as the apex of this glass eye pattern, that frustrated energy is being alchemically transmuted into Jupiter in Aries. Jupiter in Aries is this leadership quality. This is that energy that we all have that gives us the power to go for something and actually achieve it. This is the power of positivity in action in our lives. This is winning. This is turning this frustrated energy into winning. And if you add that like winning energy to this whole thing, we've got to expand what we even think winning is. What does it even look like? Think bigger, push against what you think is the end of that potential or the ceiling or the box that winning exists in. Just my stomach just growled as soon as I did that. It would be funny if that showed up on the video. This is also about relying on ourselves. And this, again, brings us back to the inside degree of blocking out all of those other opinions. They don't know. You know. You know. You know. You don't need that. You don't need all that noise. You don't need that distraction. Mars is here, conjunct one of my favorite fixed stars, Nihal. This is the star of the Blu-ray and the indigos. And Mars is energizing, amplifying, requiring that we withdraw our energy from all those things that do not fit into this expanded vision of winning that we are allowing Venus to help us create with the support of the Super Galactic Center. You don't have to fight it. You don't have to tell anybody off, although sometimes that's necessary. It doesn't have to be dramatic. You can simply withdraw your energy. I don't mean ghosting. Ghosting is incredibly disrespectful and cowardly. I don't mean that. But I do mean withdraw your energy, but do it in a way that is in alignment with the utmost, highest integrity that you would expect from a very wise person. You do it. You be that wise person. Now we have another aspect pattern that is just amping this up as well. We have a Thor's hammer with the new moon as the apex. That is this sesquiquadrate with the square of Saturn and Uranus. This creates a closed loop of energy. And this, I wish I could isolate these aspect patterns for you to see, because with this square of Saturn and Uranus, with the glass eye with Jupiter, the opposition with the new moon, and then this Thor's hammer. This is extraordinary. extraordinary. It's extraordinary how much support this is giving us. Now, listen, this is not like easy peasy, I'm just going to sit back and, let it, expect it to be easy. These are incredible blessings, but it's uncomfortable to consider even receiving at this level. So I'm not suggesting that everything is going to go beautifully, smoothly, and we're just going to be given fruit baskets of all our wishes come true. No, we have to meet. We have to rise up and meet these blessings. And this Thor's hammer is like, all right, let's take this frustration where we think we can't move, we can't get out of it, we can't make any headway, nothing is happening. And let's just funnel it all into this limitless gravitational pull that is insatiable. And it's insatiable in a Venusian way. So anything that we do that honors our own worth, that allows mutuality, reciprocity, balance, truth, and beauty, let's just commit to that, because it shouldn't be so hard to commit to that. But again, our world tells us we shouldn't do that. We shouldn't have that. We don't get to. And those are lies. Lies. It's lies. You have to tune it out. We do have a fixed star in the mix that I want to bring into the story. This new moon is also conjunct the fixed star Acellus Primus. Acellus Primus is the theta star in the constellation of Bootes, spelled boots. The name Acellus Primus is Latin for the first donkey. Now, we'll get into that in a moment, but just a really cool fact, this star, Acellus Primus, was the North Pole star between the years 4300 and 3942 BCE. So it is a former connection point, a nexus point from our past that connected us to all of the out there, the whole cosmos. It's pretty cool. So let's talk about donkeys. Now, that may seem like a weird thing to flavor this new moon with, but the ownership of donkeys in classical times was equated with opulence and wealth. Now, they are also associated with Dionysus, the god of vineyards and wine and drinking, madness and religious ecstasy. And we are still in the Celtic tree month of the vine, which is also associated with Dionysus because of the harvest of the grapes in the vineyards, the abundance of the abundance that whole process represents. We also just had our autumn equinox, which is also Mabon, the second harvest festival of the year. So this brings another level of just expansion of what we think wealth is, what we think prosperity and abundance are. Expand our ability to allow these things into our lives in all the ways that they are available to us. The animal medicine of donkey is pretty fascinating because They are often spoken ill of or as if they are stupid. We call people a jackass as an insult. But in truth, donkeys are very strong, long lived, intelligent. They have an incredible memory. They're curious and grounded. Where horses, which we often think are more majestic, more spectacular, you know, we would rather be associated with a horse than with a donkey generally. But horses are easily startled. Donkeys are not. Their reputation for stubbornness is because they have a very keenly developed sense of self-preservation. It's difficult to force a donkey to do something that is against its own interest or its own benefit, or that would endanger it some way. They are more independent in their thinking than horses. And when a foal is separated from their mother, if they have the choice between other horses or a donkey to go to for comfort, they usually choose the donkey. And in order to train a donkey, you have to earn their trust. They don't overgive. They require reciprocity. They are actually very Venusian. They're connected with wealth. They have dignity. They have trust in themselves and their own perception of what is going on. They are comforting to those in need. I mean, I wholeheartedly welcome donkey medicine into my life, especially at this point in our evolution as humans and on this highly activating new moon. I wish you all the blessings of the Super Galactic Center, all the blessings of an insatiable Venus. Come join us in Deep Divers if you like deep diving, and I will see you very soon. Thank you so much for spending this time with me, for liking and subscribing. Much love.